Today we are making chicken shawarma in under 15 minutes using the ingredient prep method. Hi there, I'm Sam from Bites of Wellness. Come cook with me. So you may be wondering, what the heck is chicken shawarma? Well, it's a spiced chicken. It's got some really good intense flavors. It's cumin and turmeric and paprika and even some cinnamon for a little bit of smoky, sweet yumminess. I promise you, if you like Middle Eastern flavors, you are going to love this dish. So I'm going to let this skillet preheat, and we're gonna add about a tablespoon of olive oil. Now on our prep day, I went ahead and did a favor and chopped up all of my veggies that I knew could kind of handle being in the fridge all week. So I've got one red onion, and we're gonna let this cook for 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, so this has been cooking for a couple of minutes now. You can see the onions are starting to caramelize. They're starting to look a little bit translucent. So at this point, we want to add our garlic. We don't want to add garlic right away because it has a tendency to burn if you add it right to the pan with the onions. So we need about 2 cloves worth of garlic in there. Just gonna let that get hot for a second. And then we are going to add our spices. We have a lot of spices, but they're all common ingredients. We've got cumin, turmeric, paprika, cinnamon, garlic powder, and salt. So all pretty staple ingredients here. And we're adding these now because we want to toast the spices so they don't taste quite as raw. So you're just going to let them cook with everything for 30 seconds to a minute. You don't want them to burn, but you do want to cook them by themselves before you add the rest of the ingredients. So this smells super fragrant now. What we want to do is add about 1/4 of a cup of water, and it's going to steam up. And this is going to help ensure that nothing burns. So we just want to scrape the bottom, make sure nothing is burning on here. And at this point, we want to add our chicken. So this has been in the fridge. We want to add, this is 2 days worth of chicken. So I'm just going to add half of it to the pan. It's pre-shredded. We shredded it when it was hot before we put it in the fridge. And we want to make sure this gets nice and well coated with all this spice mixture, and we also want to reheat it. So it's been in the fridge for a while. I want to make sure it gets nice and hot. And this chicken looks nice and heated through now. So the last thing we're going to do, a lot of the dishes I like to keep the rice separate, but with this dish specifically, the rice is actually super yummy if it can also absorb up a lot of these spices. So we need to add essentially 2.5 to 3 cups of cooked rice here. And we're just going to add the rest of the water, about 1/4 of a cup. I find that really helps to reconstitute the rice, to give it so it's got a really good texture. And we want to make sure to get it nice and spread around here so that it also gets to absorb all of that flavor. And once the rice is nice and hot, takes about 1 minute or 2 tops, we can turn this off and go ahead and assemble our dish. So one thing I love about this method of cooking specifically is that no one in your family is going to know that this is from essentially leftovers. So, you can take the shortcut and go ahead and cook those proteins and the carbs, like your starches, earlier in the week. And if you didn't have time for that and you're like, oh my gosh, I love this idea, use a rotisserie chicken, use some quick cooking grains, whatever you have to do. But this really makes dinner so easy. So another way to make this meal kind of feel a lot fresher, because we are using those leftovers, is to do yourself a favor and make a really yummy sauce, or to add some fresh ingredients in. So we're actually going to do both of those today. I love the flavor of the shawarma, but I love it even more if I have a tangy sauce with it. So this lime cilantro sauce is the perfect kind of oomph that you need. Plus we're serving it alongside of a salad, so think of this as kind of like your salad dressing. So we need a really juicy lime. Roll it out a few before you cut into it. Just want to quickly juice this. We've got lime juice, we've got a little bit of water here, about 3 tablespoons. Got tahini. So tahini is made from ground sesame seeds, and it is great in salad dressings and things. Oops, added a little extra there, because it helps things get super creamy and rich without the need of any dairy. So I really love it in all of my dairy-free recipes. So this wouldn't be a cilantro sauce without some fresh cilantro. I'm just gonna rip and dunk. We don't need to chop that or anything. That's what the blender is gonna do. And then the last ingredient here, it's a quick sauce, is just a little bit of garlic powder and salt. You could use fresh garlic, but I find that that can kind of start overwhelming the flavors of the dish. So I like to just leave garlic powder as the only garlic seasoning. And then we're going to blend this until the cilantro no longer looks like leaves, but instead is a sauce. And this went for about 20 seconds. Again, we don't need to break down anything. We just want to get that cilantro all mashed up. You can see it's a nice thick and creamy sauce because of the tahini. The last part of making anything that's kind of leftovers taste super fresh is to just use some fresh ingredients in the meal as well. I'm gonna cut up a few nice cherry tomatoes. I've got some cucumber. Think of this as like a really nice salad that we put the chicken shawarma on top of, and then we're just gonna drizzle everything else. So I'm just gonna cut up the cherry tomatoes, nothing special here. Just wanna make sure they don't burst in your mouth, essentially. So I've got a homegrown cucumber here. Typically I would recommend using like an English cucumber or something like that that doesn't have such thick skin, because the skin kind of makes it not inedible, but not as enjoyable to eat. So I'm going to quickly, if you have a cucumber from your garden or you saw cheaper cucumbers, but they have this thick skin, just kind of peel as much of it away as needed. So you can see we have this beautiful salad just kind of coming together. I personally really love some fresh red onion, but we have a lot of onion in the dish already, so you don't need a lot. But I love the bite that it adds. If you are like me, just need a tiny little bit, and it's really up to you if you want it to be finely diced or slices or whatever you love. So we are going to serve this up. I'm thinking half the dish is salad, half is shawarma, so you can mix it around if you want to, or you can kind of leave it separate, whatever you prefer. So we're just going to build our salad here, nice and pretty. Want to add that chicken shawarma too. So we're just going to drizzle this with the cilantro lime sauce. There you go. So this is the way that we can change pre-made ingredients into something completely different. This is a nice fresh meal. Everybody in your family is gonna love that you took the time to make this, but you didn't have to spend all night in the kitchen, which is what I'm hoping to empower you to learn how to do. So I hope this has shown you just how easy dinner can be, because we prepped some ingredients in advance. If you love this idea and you're thinking, I want more, don't worry, I've got you covered. Check out the link below to get a full week of recipes. Until then, happy cooking.